Hey everyone, this is the LEGO Star Wars Sith TIE Fighter, aka TIE Dagger. I'm going to try to give you a pretty quick overview of everything that we get with this set, then I'll come back and give you more of my personal thoughts, talk about details, compare this to other related craft and models, and talk about value. What's most noteworthy about this ship is the shape of the wings, and I think one of the most noteworthy things about this LEGO model is that LEGO actually introduced a new piece in order to be able to finish off this shape. So there's a new 2x3 wedge plate available in two colors in this set, red and black, to get those tips, and it's also in both left and right variations. You can see it very clearly here in black, and then the red is layered behind there, and that just allows them to finish off this shape. They already had pieces at that angle previously that would fit, but they didn't have anything for the tip, so this new design allows them to get right down to a point. There are two layers of wings or winglets, technically solar panels, and the outer one is actually supposed to be a deflector shield generator. They're layered up with the thickness of a brick in between, and they also have a laser on either side, so this is represented by a spring-loaded shooter inside of there, which is fully buried inside, and you can fire it with this remote trigger mechanism, which is nicely hidden away. Just squeeze right in there. Inside of each panel, there's not much to see because it's just the undersides of plates that are stacked up on top of each other. This set had to come with a stand because there are no landing gear for this space-only ship, and without a stand it would just fall forward. So they gave us the most basic stand that they could. It's not even very deep, and it's just built on a 4-stud wide base. The cockpit area features two printed pieces. This front one is a new exclusive print for the TIE Dagger, or Sith TIE Fighter in particular, and that's a transparent red piece that opens up to give you access to the cockpit. You can also open the top, and that was a previously existing or pre-existing print for that dish piece there. You can open up the top to give you just a little bit better, a little bit easier access to the interior, which does have two small printed consoles off to the sides, but no actual controls or anything for the pilot to even reach for. Interestingly, opening the top hatch takes part of the top of the fuselage with it, and also forces moving the engine or reactor outlets out of the way, so those are just on a hinge. And that is it for this ship. There are no other features to see, so let's take a look at the figures. First off, the set includes just a regular First Order TIE pilot, which I find to be very strange, given that, well, no spoilers are required here to ruin the day for folks who haven't seen the movie yet. The ship has red stuff on it, and this guy has no red stuff on him, which is just weird. He seems very normal and very plain. And look at this. Underneath, angry clone. Again, they couldn't even change that up. So this is just a strange decision, in my opinion. The figure's okay for what it is, and I do like the mold of the headgear piece. The printing, not quite so much, but yeah, it's just plain. It's just a regular dude, you know? Finn is included in the set with no particular plot reason for that. I think this is a good version of Finn. I think the printing on that torso is good. Printing on the hip piece is okay to good, and the print on the leg is also good. Legs is also good. Has his man purse there, messenger bag, and he has the increased texture in his hair for the Rise of Skywalker, which is appropriate. And take this off. He does have an alternate face, so he can look rather scared. It's a little bit comical. This face and also this face as well don't necessarily match with the tone of the movie overall, but I still think it is a fine figure, and the blaster there is done in gunmetal gray. This figure is interesting though. This is one of the Knights of Ren. This is Trudgeon by name, and the base color for the entire figure is gunmetal gray, and then they've printed black and silver upon that to give it some additional details, and when the light hits it right, you can really appreciate those details. I think it could have been even more detailed than it is, just with the graphic treatment there, but it's not bad. You wouldn't have really been able to see all that much more, to be honest, except when the light hits it just right. The headgear piece is not new, it's just a recolor for this wave, and he has his Uruk-hai vibro cleaver there. That would have been nice to get in an exclusive form, maybe a combination of the gunmetal gray with some silver in it, like a dual mold would have been nice, or at least some printing on it. But it's fairly appropriate, at least in its overall size and appearance, although the real one that he has doesn't have that hook on the back of it. And there's no alternate face for this figure, and it honestly doesn't need one. There's just a better look at what face we do get there. Again, subtle the details are, but they're there and they're appropriate, I think. And finally, here's the tiny number of spare pieces left over from the build. And now I need to share a bunch of criticism of this set. So if you don't want to hear criticism of this set, then just leave now, because I really don't want to hear backtalk from folks who worship Lego and think that Lego can do no wrong, for they exist. This set costs $80 US. $80 US for 470 pieces. Now, $80 US is $10 more than the last regular TIE Fighter, the Imperial TIE Fighter from the Solo movie. It is also $10 more than the last First Order TIE Fighter from the sequel trilogy. And it is the same price as the TIE Silencer, Kylo Ren's TIE Silencer from The Last Jedi, which was a much more significant build, a much more significant thing when completed. I will bring both of those onto the screen to compare to this, to drive my point home. But all three of the alternate sets that I mentioned also have more pieces, a significant number of additional pieces than this. Fortunately, at least the base prices for the UK and the Eurozone were not adjusted upwards this time around. I'm sure there are some other countries where the prices have been adjusted upwards regardless, but $80 for this is a no-go for me. I bought the set to review it because that's what I do, but I would not ever want to pay $80 for this for myself as a Star Wars fan. It just doesn't make sense to me. Forget about part counts, price to part ratio. Some people like to talk about price to weight ratio, even though that doesn't make sense, because a stack of small pieces weighs way more than the same volume of larger pieces. But just fundamentally, this does not seem like $80 US worth of stuff to me, and I cannot see $80 worth of stuff in this period. No matter how much I try to make sense of it, it does not make sense to me for the amount of stuff that you actually get here. The First Order TIE Fighter was already pretty dang expensive at $70 US for what you got, and that's an opinion shared by many Lego fans that I've seen. And this is just a more substantial thing. You know, you look at the wings, these are thicker, they're built up better with more interesting techniques. Yeah, Lego was definitely successful at this shape here and getting that nice little strip of red. Introducing the two new pieces to allow that to happen was a great cheat. You could consider it to be, being a little bit sarcastic with that, but you know, it's a good solution that works out. So they were successful at that. But otherwise, looking at the value here, I mean, look at how much more substantive just the cockpit area is here. You ultimately just get more Lego stuff here, more pieces, larger volume of stuff here. Also, let's talk about some of the finer details. Oh, after I show you one other thing. These two are the same price, and maybe this isn't the best view to see what I'm talking about there, but there's some real substance here, and I'm just going to pick this up and try to put it at the same distance from the camera for you. So this is $80 US, and then this is $80 US. Wait, there. See, that's not cool. Yeah, the TIE Dagger has taller wings, but flatten out the ones on the silencer and you get a little bit more of an apples to apples comparison of overall presence. I'm really not that big of a fan of this fuselage. It feels rather minimal to me, and it's missing some key things, some key features from the in-universe thing, such as any suggestion of the laser cannons, the chin cannons, that the TIEs are known for and that this model also should have. I'm fine with it not having actual firing ones there or anything, but there should have been something to suggest those. They are important. The back is actually not bad, and I definitely respect this little stack of the reactor outlets and the way that it folds out of the way and all that. That's cool, but where are the actual twin ion engines? This is a TIE. Where are the TIEs? There should be some little suggestion, tiny little suggestion of an engine outlet over here, a thrust outlet over here, and one over here. And those are missing, and that bugs me. As much as these isosceles triangles are done well, the space between them is not. Look at that staggered stack of just plain gray bricks in there. They didn't even try to smooth it out at all, so it looks totally dithered and 8-bit inside of there. CGA, low resolution. And it's not like that's hidden away too much. I mean, yeah, you don't see it directly from the side, but especially if you built this thing, you know it's there, and every time you see it a little bit from the front, you're going to recognize it. And at least for me, that's another point of bugging, another point against the ship. I also don't like the fact that there's just a regular pilot here, and while I am repeating myself there, that at least gives me an opportunity to show you what he looks like in the cockpit. With his hands up because he has nowhere to grab any controls or anything. He's just in there doing the "I'm hit, pose. Finally, there's one tiny tangent that I need to go on really quickly regarding the design of the TIE Dagger in universe and by Lucasfilm. Anytime the design of it comes up, there are always folks who follow up and say that Disney has, in their evil ways, stolen a design from a fan who goes by the name of E.C. Henry, who did a triangle design, triangle wing design for a TIE in 2016. But this is a book here about art of The Force Awakens, art that was done in 2013 and 2014. And on page 2 of this book, you see where the design for the TIE Dagger actually began. And ultimately, as E.C. Henry himself has covered in a follow-up video about that whole controversy, the idea of geometric wings is not his. He just tried to find a shape that hadn't been used before, and turns out it kind of had. Technically, there's a little bit of space behind this, but anyway, yeah, it's unnecessary controversy. If you want to see the build of this set, I do have a speed build up, and I also have a real-time build up, so you can find those two videos on their respective channels. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Whether you enjoy the look of the set or not, whether you enjoyed my criticism or not, I hope that at least showing you the set gave you a good idea of what it is like, and will help you to make a decision on whether or not to buy it for yourself. Talk to you again soon.